Make some noise! Touchdown, Titans!
What is up? It's your boy Nick, aka Old Laddie, back with Lady Red Channel to do another Bleeds Blue Tennessee Titans podcast. Shannon, where you been? You ain't done? Oh, okay, good point.
But you've been sick.
I've been sick, so we missed last week. So we're here to do make up for last week and catch up this week. So we're going to hit a little bit of combine news, which is from last weekend. Did you know that happened last weekend?
Yes, only because you told me.
Okay, I did a good job. And then we're also coming up. In 2 days starts the legal tampering period for the NFL free agency. Yeah. So that means that they're allowed players of players are allowed to negotiate a new contract with a new team if they want to, or their own team, whatever. So we're going to cover both of those things today. So we're going to go ahead and start with a little bit of the combine news. I have a couple of sites that I've found, and then I have a little bit of like who I think we should pick it for. I'm just starting there. Like once it gets closer to the draft, I'll go kind of more in depth to each pick or each round or something like that. But just right now, we know we're at 4 for sure, unless we trade, and then we'll look at those players and then talk about a little bit of free agency targets. So I'm gonna go ahead and share the old screen here if I can figure out technology. Technology. There we go. All right. So this is usatoday.com story about, skip. This is Titans Wire story about some of the prospects that have met with the Titans during the combine, had what you call like official interviews. I don't think this is everybody, but there's a lot of different people who, either through X or different things put on here the players that they knew of or whatever. So we have, of course, Ruben Bain Jr., who's one of the big edge rushers just coming out this year. David Bailey, which is one of the edge rushers. And then talking about all three of them really in this little segment. Pretty much Averill Reese, David Bailey, and Ruben Bain Jr. Of course, like they had to also look at some people if they decide to like move back in the draft or somebody trades up and then they go back. They need to look at some more players, I guess, that were high end players. So Brandon Sice, what's he right?
Cornerback from Cease or Sice.
I'm gonna say Sice. I'm really bad with names, so if anybody's new to our podcast, they'll be like, "This guy can't spell or read a name from nothing," and that's true. I got Shannon for this gentleman's name. Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end from Oregon. Just in case they go back, he's the
formal meeting already with them.
Yeah, during the combine, at the combine. So, and just in case they decide to like trade back, he's like a guy who probably in the mid rounds of the 20s or something like that. And then there's a list of people right here. Of course, I've already talked about the top 4, and then there's also a defensive lineman, Brandon Cleveland from NC State. Yeah. And then Jeremiah Love, which was going into the combine. I know that there was a lot of talk about the 3 edges. There was a trade made last week where we sent a defensive tackle Sweat to the Jets, and then we got Jermaine Johnson, who's an edge rusher from the Jets, who I think this is like his 5th year. He was a first-round pick 5 years ago. So he's a really good guy. He's just coming off an injury like a season ago or season before. And so it's maybe taking him a little bit of time. I think he tore his Achilles to get back to that. So there's a little bit of speculation where the Titans might go. They might go with Jeremiah Love. They supposedly left the combine really in love with Love. And he's already been into Nashville to have his formal, I guess it's not interview, but I guess it's I don't really remember what it's called, but where they come in, they officially meet with a team or whatever. And then there's a couple of people that this Teron Davenport had reported that they met with Chris Hilton, who's like probably going to be like a lower round, 4th to 7th round guy. And then there's a couple of the other big wide receivers that they didn't meet with. So he also reported about that. So I think they're not going to go with a wide receiver very high. They're probably going to get a free agency wide receiver, which we'll talk about in a little bit, and not get a high rookie wide receiver. Pretty much only ones that's on this list that we didn't talk about, I think, was like Will Lee. He's probably a second, third round pick. Everybody else, I think, was already on this list. So, and then Omar Cooper Jr., which is probably like the beginning of the second round. That could be potentially where the Titans would look for a wide receiver, second, third round, somewhere like that, I think. And so looking at this, which is tsn.ca, which I think is maybe a Canadian website. I'm not really sure. They covered each day, like highlights of some different prospects that stuff happened during the combine. So we'll go over those. It starts, I don't know why it goes from day 4 to day 1. It's just, it goes backwards for some reason. I guess they updated it or something. I'm not really sure. But then offensive lineman, we have 2 holes there now because on top of trading for Jermaine Johnson last weekend, they also released a safety and the starting center. So 2 more holes that they got to fill in free agency or the draft. So a couple of these guys I like for maybe like the guard spot. Like I had a really hard time with this name last show, Max Ian Anchor.
It's not Anchor. It's a core.
Oh, well, that's why you're here. And
I mean, I'm not saying it right, I'm sure. But
I'm sure you're saying it probably righter than me. So, but he's a big boy, 6'6", 320. But still shows some
wingspan of 83 inches.
Yeah, he's got some long arms. And he's built to be a tackle, but he may not be as athletic as a tackle needs to be at the next level. So he could be a big guy who you could move into guard. I'm not really sure 100%. I like the guys that are kind of bigger and heavier if you're going to move them from tackle to guard. I don't really like super like guys like me, like they're going to, like the Titans are asking me, really, they don't really care. But like these guys that are kind of bigger guys, like, this Micah Morris guy, he's 6'5", 333, 334.
Well, this other one's 6'9" at 346.
Yeah, he's a really big boy.
So some big boys.
You can put some. If you're going to get somebody to be in the guard position, you're going to have to get some beef up there, and that's what some of these guys coming in have. Logan Jones, he's kind of like a lighter guy though, and traditionally, I think, from my understanding, Brian Daboll likes guys who are a little bit heavier, even at the center position. So he might be a little bit too light.
He's the one that ran the fastest 40-yard dash of any offensive lineman, though, 4.9.
Because he's pretty slight at 399 or 399, shit, 299. Numbers are hard for me today, apparently. But some of these other guys, like this guy's a big guy, Caden Proctor, 6'7", 352 pounds.
Yeah,
he's probably got a wingspan of a condor or some shit. So, it's just, I don't really know. It doesn't say his wingspan. I'm assuming if he's 6'7", he's got a long wingspan. But he's also a bigger, heavier guy. So sometimes those bigger, heavier guys, you need to slide into guard. And like I said, we got an opening at center and guard.
That Monroe's got the longest arms and the largest wingspan. Dadgum.
Oh, yeah, his wingspan's 84 and a half inches. Yeah, he's a 6'7", and he is, I don't say, but he's probably over 320, probably. I would say 320, 330 somewhere. But I mean, there's some big sized boys coming out, and a lot of them that they're kind of specialized or specifically talking about right here. A lot of tackles, but I think some of these tackle guys, prospects, might be moved inside because they're not the most athletic. So sometimes, and we only have 2 pretty good tackles right now. So but it don't hurt to have a guy who can both, just in case somebody gets hurt, to go down here. And they kind of, these guys, like I was looking at this before because a little behind the scenes. This is the second time that we were filming this because our sound didn't work the first time, and that was all Lady Red Shannon's fault. So
you set it up.
But when we went through these people the first time, I kind of felt like these guys are really similar to somebody like a Calvin Ridley, which we already have, but Calvin Ridley's contract is super high. Like if we keep Calvin Ridley, it's going to cost us $26 million just to have him for the one season. Of course, they could cut him. They're going to have to pay a certain amount, but we could still save $13 million.
Yeah.
So they might take somebody younger. Some of these guys they can get a little later in the draft, like a Deion Burks or Skylar Bale or somebody. I mean, so some of these guys. See, all these guys are really similar to Calvin Ridley.
A little shorter too.
Yeah, Calvin
And
Ridley's
lighter.
I think Calvin Ridley's about 6 foot, 5'11", 6 foot, something like that. And he's a fast guy, but he's also getting older. So these guys will be younger, less expensive, and a similar skill set. Calvin Ridley still might be better, but these guys can work into that position. I remember this. I remember seeing this quarterback, and he was super, super fast. He was like, I think this is his run time, 4.36 second 40 is what I'm trying to say.
40-yard dash, fastest time for a quarterback since 2003.
And I don't know how much he is an elite passer. This might be one of those guys that, like, you're going to throw some hamburgers at him, get him about 235, 240, and they might convert him to a tight end at that size, at that height, and that speed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, why have a guy that's right quarterback, your backup or third quarterback, and you could have a guy who could be a really good tight end. You know what I'm saying? So, I really was a big fan, like, of Mike Washington Jr. from Arkansas. I think if we don't take Love, we need to try to figure out how to get him in one of the first 3 rounds because we kind of need to move on from Tony Pollard. There's some guys that, like, we could save some money with that are kind of aging veterans with high contracts that they kind of need to move into younger people, because we have a young nucleus of guys other than like Jeffrey Simmons. A lot of the guys on the team are young, so they need to kind of move younger. So my big two that I like from this particular
Jeremiah
Love, and I really like David Boston because we have a lot of young, that guy too. We also have a lot of. What did I say?
David, you did it yesterday.
Did I really? At least I'm consistent.
You're consistent.
I'm consistent at saying things wrong. I do think that Denzel Boston would be a good player because we don't have a big body guy. We have a lot of like quick twitch, speedy kind of like Z receivers, what they call it, and then like slot receivers. We don't have a big body guy you can just throw up and he wins with his size and power. I think that would be.
Jeremiah's a favorite.
Jeremiah Love. I really like Jeremiah Love or Reuben Bain Jr. Those are my two for the 4th pick, which we'll go over here in a little bit. Carnell Tate, who's probably the best receiver in this class, but like I was telling you yesterday, the last couple of years, he would probably be like 3rd or 4th receiver because they've had some better guys come out. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying sometimes you have guys who are really good that look even better in a certain draft because they're kind of like the best of that draft, but they would be the best in like some other draft. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not big on trying to take him 4th. Now, if we were to trade back, I think he could be an option. Like I said, the tight end might be an option, some other positions, but I don't really want to take him at 4. And then they go over some of the guys who are like cornerbacks and safeties, which we need some safety depth. We need a lot of cornerback depth. But like I said in the last show, I think the cornerback is one of the hardest positions to like, because like in college, they kind of play like 10 or 12 yards away from the receiver.
Yeah.
And then like give their stuff enough time to get to there and turn around and place their stuff. Like in the NFL, they play right on the guy and they play with physical. They try to bump them off their route. And it takes a little while for the guys to get enough muscle, get used to playing man on man. They call it stuff like that. So I think that we need to get a young guy, maybe top of the 4th or something. We should get a cornerback and then really sign some that should be a priority in free agency, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. This is just some people. I'll just kind of scroll over them. I won't really specify any of them. They're all kind of the same guys that we need to maybe think about later or something like that. And then there's Eli Stowers. Man, I'm glad you're here. And he's from Vanderbilt, so he's right there in Nashville. He's a really good tight end. In case we move away from Chigakonkwo, he's coming out to be a potential free agent. There's some more cornerbacks, like we already talked about. Kenyon Shadiq, like I said, we need to get somebody within the first 3 or 4 rounds at cornerback. And I think safety could probably wait till like the 5th, 6th, or something like that, because we have some good guys right now. But they are getting, one of them is getting a little older, so some depth would be good. As far as down here, day one was the big boys on the defensive line side. So we do now need a defensive tackle, which they might. There's a lot of speculation they're going to bring in some existing some free agents to fill that gap, because trying to get a young guy, like the good ones would be up high, I think, and they don't want to take defensive tackle up high, I think is what I'm trying to say. Because it feels like somebody you could probably get at a decent rate in free agency to cover that. But we do probably need some depth at edge. So there's some guys like Malachi Lawrence. I was waiting for you to say it. And then there's, of course, we have David Bailey, Ruben Bain, and Averill Reese. Of course, there's like, I think his name is Keldrick. Is that, yeah. Falk. He's the guy who might, if we were to fall down, take a trade. Somebody took 4. We went to like 9, 10, 12, so somewhere in there. We could get someone like him. He's still really talented. He's not as good as the top 3 guys. Yeah. So, of course, like Sonny Styles was one of the big. I remember he was one of the big, huge stories from the first day, because he's one of the most athletic workouts of all times. But I don't think, even though he is super athletic at 6'5", 244, says he ran a 4.46 40, broad jumped 11 feet and 2 inches. I think he jumped his vertical was 43.5 inches. So, I mean, he's super athletic. Somebody came up with one thing I saw, I think on NFL Network or ESPN or something, I don't know, one of them things, that like he was more athletic than a lot of like people that were top in different classes. Yeah. Like some of them are Hall of Famers. He's more athletic than like, I think Calvin Johnson, who was one of the greatest wide receivers for a long time. And then like all these other people that are like in different positions, but he's more athletic than them in some of the workouts that he did. But still, regardless, I don't think we need to take a linebacker at 4. And he'll probably be a top 5, top 6 pick. So he's just going to be a guy that's going to go to another team. So that brings us to, I think I made a little who I think should be a number 4. So you want to go ahead and look at who that is? I think I chose 5 players who potentially we should take at number 4 if they're available. And I went through NFL Network's combine information, like off their strengths, and this is strengths twice, but this should be weaknesses. I just realized that. But it's kind of off their prospect grade. It's not off of who I think should be. It's not in the order of my opinion. It's in the order of like NFL's prospect grade. So we have number 1. We have Averill Reese, and you got him. He did the 40, which is the 10-yard splits from the 40 time. His prospect grade is 7.04, which I think meant he could be like either an all-pro, a day 1 impact starter, or something like that. They have like these like the numbers mean some like correlation to how good they're going to be in the NFL's opinion, right? So these are supposed to be his strengths. He got elite burst, natural bend, and then this should say weaknesses, but I apparently messed up my slideshow and I didn't realize it. It says needs upper body strength because he is a little light because he's played both linebacker and edge. Yeah, and his instincts are still developing because he hasn't. He played like quite a bit the last 2 seasons, but sometimes they pull him off the field for like a bigger guy who might be better at run defense or something like that. So there's a little bit of, he just needs some more time to develop understanding the game. And then so we got number 2, we got David Bailey. He has the 2nd prospect grade. He ran the 40 at 4.5. I mean, this is the same speed as some wide receivers. And these are big old boys, you know what I'm saying? Like 260, 270 pounds or something like that. His strengths can get washed out in the run. He's not really great in the run game, which would also be a weakness, and which for some reason my weaknesses got cut off here. Yeah. He needs more hand refinement, which also means he's not really great at disengaging from good offensive tackles who can grab onto him. He can't get It's kind of like this martial arts to go on with like offensive line, defensive line, where they try to get each other off of each other. He's not super great at that. And I think that both of these guys might actually be gone by the time we go to pick. There's a quarterback who's pretty much already going to go number one. And I think the Raiders have already said they're taking him number one. So these guys, I think, Alvaro Reese will go like 2, or David Bailey go 2, and then 3 will probably go. It'd be one or the other, whoever likes them a little more. So I think when we get into these next 3 prospects, they'll be the ones who'll be more likely to be there at 4 than these first 2. So the next one is, like I said, Cornell Tate. He had a prospect grade of 6.75, ran a little bit slower than David Bailey did at 4.53, which don't really mean anything. It just means the other guy's a little bit better of an athlete. It's like 0.03. So what does that even? Could have been a bad start from him,
Smooth, polished runner.
Yeah, and he is elite at tracking the ball. I think down here, if I remember, for some reason my concerns are way down here. It says he doesn't have elite top end speed. He has really good speed, but not like, because his 40 time is 4.3. He's not like a 4.36. He's not an elite runner. And I think if I remember something about he's not the greatest, like, because he is kind of a guy who's going to be like an outside guy. He's not like a very good across in the middle type of getting through traffic. And also he's a little bit of a bigger dude. It's like it's hard to get skinny if you're bigger. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's true.
It's just hard. And then the next one is the one I want us to pick it for. This would be my personal favorite, because I think that not only has the Tennessee Titans always been known of having an elite running game, an elite running back, and we go back to Derrick Henry, Chris Johnson, Eddie George, and even whenever they were the Oilers, we had Earl Campbell. So we've had a history of like elite runners, and that's always helped our passing game. And I think that he could also help tremendously in the passing game because he has very good hands. Yeah. And like I was telling you in the last time we filmed this, our best receiver last year was Chika Okonkwo in yardage, and he had like 500, almost 600 yards. I think he could get 400 or 500 yards himself out of the running back position. He could be one of the best receivers and the best runner. And a lot of people are like, oh, yeah, but statistically, blah, blah, blah. The way we win football games is touchdowns, people. It don't matter if you have 300 yards a game. Of course, 300 yards a game would be awesome every game. But it also matters who's getting 15 to 20 plus touchdowns a year, because no one else is generating that type of touchdown, production in our team right now. So I think that even our quarterback, who's I think has a lot of potential to do a lot more this next year, he still only had like 1 or 2 rushing touchdowns and like 15 or 16 passing touchdowns. That's still sub 20. You're talking about a potential player who could bring more than 20. You see what I'm saying? That's double your offensive production. So he would be my favorite if we were to pick somebody. But I think it's going to be there's going to be some other teams that fall in love with him, either want to trade up, or they might take him at 3. He might get taken at 3. But my runner-up for the 4th one would be Reuben Bain Jr. Even when he has short, and everybody's making fun of his short little T-Rex arms, he still has a 77-inch wingspan.
And he has violent hands and power.
Yeah, he does.
Speed to power.
He kind of reminds me of like, he kind of reminds me of Jeffrey Simmons in a way. But Jeffrey Simmons might be a little bit faster and because Jeffrey Simmons is a little heavier. So he might have a tad bit more speed, and Jeffrey Simmons has a tad bit more power, but their game is pretty similar. You know what I mean? Like they're using power to get through their opponents. So like he uses super fast, violent hands with power. So like if a guy tries to get on him, he just pops him out of the way. Yeah. So he's just missing some length, but like I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal as like they're acting like it is. I think it's more important for an offensive tackle to have more length than it is for a defensive player to have more length. Because if you can figure out how to swim your hands or do multiple different things with pushing the guy back, he can't get to you to get a hold of you. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really matter. So with that scenario, I went and turned on our air conditioner. I went and did 2 little mock drafts. I did one with us sticking and picking, and one with us taking Jeremiah Love. So get on. You said you couldn't see that. I think the last time we did this.
Yeah.
So I need
It's
to
small.
open this up for you to see. Hopefully, you guys can see it on y'all's end. If you can't, I greatly apologize. But basically, we'll go over it real quick. So the first mock draft is us trading back, but still getting Jeremiah Love, which I think is the best way to do it. Like, if we're going to get Jeremiah Love, I think we still need to get a few more picks because, yes, it's not the most needed position, even though I think it might be the position, a running back position I'm talking about. It might help us the most win more games. We have a lot more holes, too. So in the first draft, we have us trading back, and I won't go over every single trade scenario I did. I just moved around to try to get as much as I could and get the best players that were available. So we got Jeremiah Love at 8. We got Caleb Banks because, like I said, we had to find a way to fill the holes of trading Sweat. So he was a defensive tackle. This is another big defensive tackle. And then we got Denzel Boston, which I said right this time, which I think would be really helpful to Cam. Also, Jeremiah Love and Boston would be tremendously helpful to Cam because you got a big body guy and you got a guy that you can just hand the ball off and can do some stuff and help you in the passing game. I still think we needed some depth at edge. So I went with R. Mason Thomas out of Oklahoma. And then I started trying to do my best to get some of those like middle round decent cornerbacks. Like I said, I still think cornerbacks should be one of the biggest needs we do in free agency because I think it's just hard for young guys to come in out of college and just be tremendous players. But you still have some good quality guys for depth there. Receiver and Malachi Fields, thank you. He's like another big guy. He's not as polished or as good as Denzel Boston, but he's kind of like Denzel Boston light of it. And I just wanted to get us some more size in the wide receiver.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then I put this way. I think we had problems with this one last time. Tanner Kazole. He when I looked up the stats about him, he looked like he was pretty productive for the last couple of years in Houston, and he's also a big guy. I think he was like 6'7". He ran pretty good and stuff like that with decent hands. So I mean, even if he's your backup or third tight end, at least you can play him in short yardage or like goal line situations because he's big. He's got a big catch radius. Yeah. The rest of these guys I kind of more took for depth. We needed a center depth. I don't really know. In this scenario, we would have to pick somebody up in free agency for a better center. This was an athletic linebacker for BYU. I thought at least on special teams you could have a guy that could help you on special teams because some of the guys who were younger last year maybe more in starter roles that was playing on teams before. Yeah. So and then I got another Wyatt Williams. I said it right for 100. So a little bit of depth there at safety. So this next mock draft is more. I try my best to not. I think I did do like one trade, but I try my best to not do too many trades. I think right here, like this 106 mark, I may have went back a little bit and picked up another one down here. I can't remember exactly, but I was trying my best to stick and pick as much as possible, right? Yeah. So we got David Bailey fell to us. Then we got Chase Basontis. Between the two of us, we're partially right. And so he's a young guard. So that has us moving away from Kevin Ziegler, I think is our guard's name now. If it's wrong, then I said it wrong. But he's older. He's like in his mid-30s. And so he's only going to play for another couple of years anyway. Yeah. So just in case they decide to move away, even if they want to keep him and then have him train this young guy, I'm not really sure. And then I went with Will Lee, which I showed you guys. He met with him in the combine. So I thought that was a little bit of like they met with the guy. They might like him and stuff like that. And then this one we didn't pick up. This scenario would more have us keeping Tony Pollard and then having like a committee type of running back situation. So we'd have Katron Allen out of Penn State, and then we'd have Tony Pollard, and then whoever's going to be the third one. I got Malachi Fields again because I still think we needed a big body wide receiver. And you might be like, why did you get another running back? Well, probably two reasons. Probably I forgot that I had a running back earlier. And two, this guy's really light. He's kind of like more of like a receiving guy. You can get him in a space. He's really quick. I thought he'd be like a different type of running back. If we decided to get rid of Tony Pollard, we'd have just a group of young guys or whatever. I don't know. I think he was like ranked it in this draft at like 117, 120, and I got him at 143. So I thought it was good value for a good player. You know, this was a bigger linebacker. I remember from TCU. I think he was like 100 or not 100, 240 pounds or something like that. He might be like a guy that played teams, and then the guy would be back up like middle linebacker or something like that. We still got Tanner Gazol. I'm killing that name. But in this one, I got him for almost 40 picks later.
Yeah.
Like he fell a lot farther. And then I got another Nick Barrett, which was a defensive tackle out of South Carolina. I think he was falling a little bit too. And then I just got a wide receiver because he'll probably, like in the 200s, you're really looking at, you're probably getting depth guys, people will be on a practice team. Or might not even make the squad or whatever like that. So that was all I really, we had coverage for as of right now for the coming up draft and the combine stuff. I do want to get back over here to this screen if I go to the right one. Maybe, potentially, possibly. Oh, I know what the problem is. I have to fix that in the editing. Okay, there we go. Now we're cooking with a gasoline. All right. So then the last thing I wanted to do is cover these 51 potential targets the Titans could take for free agency. So I'll just kind of run through these real fast and talk about a few of them. Like we need a backup quarterback that's a lot better in Brian Daboll's system. I don't think Brandon Allen, who was our backup last year, is worth keeping around, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it wasn't a good time.
I mean, he had one game here to really try to knock the rust off and do something, but what you could see there was he might need to go into coaching.
This guy's at least had experience with Brian.
Yeah, I mean, Mitchell Trubisky's a pretty good backup player. I mean, he's experienced. He's the number 3 overall pick, so he's athletic. He's been around the league. He's been in Brian Daboll's system. I think it's either between him or Tyrod Taylor, which I think they talk about later. We had Nick Westbrook-Akina, he's a big body guy. He might be somebody we bring back. He used to play for the Titans a couple of years ago. Corey Levin, I think, could be a guy they bring back.
Ollie or Oli?
I'm saying Oli. Yuda. He was the swing tackle we had last year. I think came up like they just signed him, like, if I remember correctly, they just signed him in like the middle of the year, or he was on the practice team or something, and then they brought him into like the acting, and he just did pretty good as a rotational backup lineman. So he could be a guy that they would think about for cheap bring back or something. You can't sign everybody for $15 to $20 million contracts, even if you have the most amount of money out there. So you do have to try to find pieces like Jihad Ward, pieces that could be a defensive end that could save you some money, and you can't go out and get everybody. Like there'll be some more down here I like, but you have to find some ways to save money too. Gabriel Davis, he's a big wide receiver, and he's still fairly young. I mean, he'll be 27 in April, so he'll be 27 once the games come around. But that's still not that old. I mean, in all honesty, not because he'll probably be your 4th or 5th receiver or something like that. I like Dylan Parham. I think he's a guy. I think he played, if I remember correctly, he played at Memphis, and he was drafted pretty high. He's super athletic. He's a guy I think who could be like Cody. Am I saying right? Corey Levin up here. We had last year. Corey Levin, we had last year. He's a guard and center. And from my understanding, Dylan Parham can also play a little bit of center as well. So he might be that inside swing guy. You can play in either position you want to keep. Like I said, Tyrod Taylor's a guy. He is 36, but he's played for 16 teams. So he's seen pretty much every type of offense there is there, every type of scheme and all that other stuff. He just is a good quality backup, better than Brandon Allen, like I was saying. Quincy Williams supposedly has a lot of he's been the green dot guys, what they call it, the kind of the middle linebackers, kind of like the quarterback of the defense. He's been that for Robert Saleh, which is our head coach now, defense. So that might be somebody Robert Saleh wants to bring in. I would like Tyler Algier. Like if we decide not to go with anybody like Love or any of the other running backs I talked about, and we want to keep Tony Pollard, it could be Tony Pollard, Tyler Algier type of two-headed monster type of system. I don't know. These guys, I don't really see us bringing in like Kirk Cousins, Bradley Chubb. I mean, Bradley Chubb is 29, but he gets hurt a lot. I do like the idea of keeping Chig Okonkwo. He's still fairly young, but he is He's not the biggest guy in the world. He don't block the best. He's not the
Yeah.
fastest guy in the world, but he does run with some power. He's kind of like a guy who's going to get you 3 to 4, 5, maybe touchdowns and 500-600 yards. But I mean, you
Yeah.
can count on that though. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? He's
yeah.
going to be professional. He's going to show up to work. He's going to do what he can do. It might be best that you put him as like, not really an offensive weapon, but kind of like your third tight end that you can move around. Maybe you want to bring in another guy who's more of a traditional tight end and still keep him too. I'm not really sure. I had other shows that I was really big on keeping him, but the closer we get to free agency, the more I'm kind of like, if we can get him for cheap, keep him. But like a lot of places are saying he might go for 8 to 12 million, maybe $10 million a year. And I think that's too much money for him. So
There's Kevin.
Kevin Zeidler, which I said he's 35. I think he's gonna be 36 when the game starts. So you're talking about an older player. He might play for another year or so. Sebastian Joseph Davis, he's 30 something, but he's pretty good guy to keep for quality depth and stuff like that. But you might have to get these guys for cheaper. Like I'm a big Kate Otten would be a guy I would say would be like a traditional tight end. Like if you could bring in a Kate Otten, keep Chick, but for cheap, then you got your tight end room done. You know.
Yeah.
But I don't know if tight end is somebody they really need to think about spending that much money in, because there is quality guys in the draft too. So I'm not sure. I like Alontae Taylor, but I don't know if he's going to be your number one guy. He might be your number 2 cornerback, and then you have to still probably get another cornerback. But I really do like Alontae Taylor. I'm not a big Romeo Doubs fan. Kevin Byard, he was the Titans' legend probably for years, but he went to Chicago, had some success. I think he's probably going to go somewhere that's trying to get like a Super Bowl ring. I don't think he's going to come back to Tennessee while we're rebuilding.
Yeah, he wants to get a better team to.
Yeah, I think he just because he's not like one of those guys who are like ever got a humongous contract. I don't even think he'll get a humongous contract this year. You know, I think he got like 6 or 7 interceptions last year. He had a good year last year, but I think he'll either stay in Chicago or go somewhere that's competitive. Kenneth Walker, he's a good running back. He just won Super Bowl MVP. He played really good in the postseason last year for the Seahawks, but I think he's going to get like $22+ million a year, and that's way too much money for us, especially whenever like I think right now, if we keep Tony Pollard, I think it's around $10 million this year. If we cut him, I think we'll save a few $1 million or something like that, if I remember correctly. But like I don't think they're trying to get like, why would you take a Kenneth Walker at 20-something plus $1 million a year when you have the chance of getting like the best running back in the draft? That's like and like even though the best running back in the draft at number 4, if you can trade it and get down to like 8 like it did in that one draft, you're still talking about a player that's getting $7 to $10 million a year, but he's the best of the new. I mean, this guy's got a few years on him, and he has quite a bit of injuries, so I don't see that being a very feasible player for us to sign. Juwan Jennings, a lot of people want to sign him because he went to the University of Tennessee. He's a good number 2, number 3 option, but he's going to get $20-something million a year too.
He's going to get some money.
Yeah. I like Elijah Vera Tucker because he can play both tackle and guard. He's one of those guys that can play a little bit of both, but he's coming off a lot of injuries, so you have to try to see if you can get him for a little bit cheaper. And I don't know if he'll sign because he's probably the best swing guy that's out there available right now. Like down here, I really like Adafe Owe that they have right here on 14, which I really think he should be higher than 14, to be honest with you. He's just 27.
And they're going to pay him like a number 1 edge rusher.
Yeah, they're going to have to pay him a lot. That's going to be the problem. I mean, Tennessee's got the money. They're just going to have to figure out, are we going to spend most of the free agent, in my opinion, if like they're going to spend most of the free agency money on defense and then try to draft young, talented offense? Because it's kind of hard when you just do, I'm going to throw a little money over here, I'm going to throw a little money over here, and that never really ever seems to work exactly out. But it seems like there's a lot of rumors that like they are going to do that. Like from what I'm hearing, because I watched all the other shows like all the other fans do, because that's just what we are as a fan podcast. But like it seems like they've been linked to a lot of like the bigger, higher name people. Yeah. And that might just be because everybody's like, Tennessee's got the most money. So obviously, like there's a couple of guys right here. I don't think that Rashad Shaheed, that guy too, should be that high up because he's kind of like fast guy, but he also plays like some teams. And we already have like what's his name? I can't never say his name, but we have an all pro freaking returner. And I don't think that we should be getting one that's probably going to be set 27, 28 and a lot more money. We already have a guy we just got in the draft last year. And then we have Jamel Dean. And we just found out earlier today that Connor McGovern just re-signed with the Buffalo Bills. So he's not even on this list, really, in real life. So, which I thought would have been the best guy for us to sign as a center, because the only other center that's going to be available right now is Tyler Linderbaum. And they're saying he's going to get like $23+ million for a center, and I'm like, I don't see spending that much. Like for me, like Wandale Robinson would be great, because like I was telling you yesterday that like he's played his entire career under like Brian Dable's offenses, so he would be a guy who knows how to play in his offense. He could teach the younger guys about it and all that other stuff. And he's still only 25 years old.
So yeah,
I think it's been in the league 4 or 5 years. I mean, probably since like 2021, and he's only been getting better like every year too. Alec Pierce, they're saying he's going to get like anywhere from $25 to $27 million a year, which is like not number one wide receiver money, but I think it's more money than Alec Pierce should be getting, because he's, in all fairness, he's like a big body dude who gets down the field and surprisingly has some speed for. I mean, I hate to say it for a white guy, but like he's not really, to me, he's not really like a number one guy. He's like a number two guy who has like an extraordinary skill at getting open and getting down the field. Of course, you need that.
Yeah.
But like, I don't really think that that's Cam Ward's game is throwing. And then maybe because we didn't have a player that had that capabilities last year for Cam Ward to show that off. But it seemed like Cam Ward was more about like getting guys to do crossing routes and like he's really good at like accuracy stuff, making stuff happen. But I didn't see him throwing a lot of bombs down the field. Like someone went down the field for more than 30, 40 yards, mostly because they made it happen after they caught the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then John Franklin Myers, he's the other one I think is already defensive lineman. He can play both edge but mostly tackle. Who played for Robert Saleh. They're pretty much saying, hey, he's about to show up in Nashville. So I feel like he's one of the guys who's already predetermined to be there. It just hasn't officially happened. And like I said, Tyler Lindenbaum, and they're saying he's going to get a lot of freaking money. So we're going to have to figure out what we're going to do at center, because I don't think we should be paying Tyler Lindenbaum. Like I said, he's a smaller guy. He's like sub 300, extraordinarily great runner, run blocker, but not the greatest pass blocker because he is a small guy. You know what I'm saying? So those guys traditionally don't get to be the best pass blockers, because people get like defensive tackles traditionally are like 320, 330 pounds. If you got a guy that's under 300 pounds, that guy just picks him up and moves him back into the quarterback's lap. So I think that's pretty much the most of what we wanted to talk about. I mean, like I said, I think just going through this list real quick, I think John Franklin Myers and maybe Wandale Robinson for sure. But both those guys are like John Franklin Myers might be a $15 to $18 million a year guy, because he's still 29. So you sign him for 3 years at $15 million. What is that, like $45 million? And then you probably guarantee like 37.5, and then you have some signing bonuses and stuff like that. So Wandale probably, they're saying $17, $18 million a year. So I mean, you still got quite a bit of money to do some stuff with, but I think they might have to cut some people go, which they haven't even done yet, which is really surprising me that today's Saturday.
Yeah.
In like just 2 days, you can start negotiating with people. I guess maybe they want to get into that negotiation period and see what it's looking like before they make any brash movements on letting people go, because they know what they have now. And then maybe from there, they're just going to be like, well, like now we got this guy, now we got this guy, now we got to let some people go. Maybe that's what they're going to do. I'm not really sure.
Maybe.
Like last year, it was kind of like they kind of had like a two-headed monster at general manager. Now it's more it's more one guy making most of the calls. So it's just kind of like the first year we're going to see him do it on his own. You know, like how does he become? How is he a free general manager? So, and then plus we have a new coaching staff and all that stuff. So there might be new wants, new needs.
All
and all
bald
that.
men.
Oh yeah, we got.
They're all
Well,
bald.
the only one that ain't bald is that I've seen a picture of most of them. There's like maybe 2 or 3 coaches and the general manager. The rest of them seem like they're all bald. So
It's okay.
and I'm still waiting for my call there, Robert Sala. You know, I can't show you my hair now because I ain't shaved the sides. I got the substitute freaking teacher look going on. But, you know, I'm ready. Hey, I got a razor upstairs. You give me a call, Robert Sala. I'm ready to go. But I'm pretty excited about this next week. Like I told you yesterday, the 12th is the day of the new branding, the new uniforms. And I think that's really funny because I don't think they can officially start the 9th, I think. It may be the 12th. It may be the 12th is the day that they're allowed to sign people. So the 9th they're allowed to do. I think it may be.
You think so?
Maybe, I don't know. It's like Monday they can start talking to people. Wednesday, so maybe the 11th they're allowed to start signing people. So then the next day when they come in and then they introduce them, they'll be able to show them in their new jerseys.
Yep.
That's probably how it works. So there's a lot of stuff going on this next week. We're real excited about it. We can't wait for some new news on players and stuff and get out of this 3-14 purgatory that the Titans seem to be stuck into. So
yeah.
But
hopefully this year's going to be a better one.
Yeah, we hope.
New staff, new.
I mean, I have a good feeling that it's gonna be making progress. Now, granted, we might go from a 3-win team to a 6-win team. It may take a couple years for us to start getting uber competitive. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because you have all these ambitions and goals and stuff like that, but it takes a while to get the right players in there and all that other stuff. People find their footing and all that other stuff. But hopefully, any progress would be great right now because it is sometimes hard to have people be like, "You're a Titans fan? Why are you wearing that hat?" Man, they've been my fan. They've been my team forever, so I can't just take it out just because of rough times. But it would be nice to be able to wear the hat with pride sometimes. Even though we're gonna have a stupid logo, but it is what it is. We appreciate you guys so much for watching. You guys tell us what you think that the Titans should do in both the draft and free agency. We'd love to have dialogue with people.
Yes.
We're trying to get Shannon fan of the year, rookie fan of the year.
New rookie fan
of the year. So she can let go of her Denver Bronco, John Elway days.
From 1998,
1997, whatever it was. You've been holding on to him for a long time. So we need to let her know how to be a good Titans fan, guys. But like I always say, Shannon never says, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and tighten up. Peace. You got to do this part.
I did.
No, you got to hold the mouse.